Hey, happy Hanukkah. Sorry I didn't do this yesterday. The days just fly by. Then you have to light candles and everyone's home and you have to make dinner way beforehand because you can't do anything for the half an hour after candle lighting. So it's crazy. Anyway, all good. Um, I want to talk a little bit about Hanukkah and a little bit about this parsha. The parsha is called Miketz, and Miketz means at the end of. And it comes from the first verse in the parsha. Miket shnatayim yamim ufaro cholem. At the end of 2 years, Paro had a dream, and if you remember last week's parsha, it was just all hell was breaking loose. It was terrible, the worst time in the history of the family of Yaakov, where they throw Yosef into the pit, then they remove him from the pit, but they sell him into slavery into Egypt. And everyone is mourning and grieving and regretting and just feeling out of sorts. This is just the worst time. They can't figure out how this happened. And imagine Yosef, and then Yosef goes down into Mitzrayim after being this beloved, coveted child who's just everything was going great for him. And he's sold into slavery, and his life is just taking such a horrific turn. And then he's like thrown into jail because his boss's wife claims that he tried to seduce her, tried to rape her. Complete fabrication, complete libel. And for no reason, as far as he's concerned, he's sitting in a Egyptian dungeon. And then there's these butler and the baker. Do you remember that story that they had a dream? They were in the dungeon as well with him. They were in jail, and he interpreted their dreams. And in fact, the dreams actually came true, meaning everything that he said was the meaning of the dreams actually happened. And actually, by the time they left that jail, Yosef was starting to feel a little bit better, like, oh, here's an opportunity. And he mentions to the butler, as you go back to the palace, if you don't mind just mentioning to the king that there's this Jewish boy sitting here for no good reason, and he's very good at interpreting dreams, and maybe something will happen. So there's this opportunity to release the hostage in the dungeon. And, and then 2 long years pass, and this is where our parsha starts out. Miketz shnatayim yamim ufaro cholem. At the end of the 2 years. So it's 2 years since he felt that, oh, here's an opportunity. I can get out of jail. And it's still 2 years later. It's unbelievable. Now, the Midrash says about these words, the end of 2 years. Vayihi miketz shnatayim yamim. At the end of 2 whole years, it says, Ketz sam lachoshech. This is the Midrash. There is an end to the darkness. Hashem decides when the darkness is going to end. Vizman natan la'olam. Hashem gave a certain amount of time to the world, how much time it will be in darkness. And at the end of that time, kol zman sheyetzer hara ba'olam, as long as there's a yetzer hara in the world, meaning the Satan, meaning the evil forces in the world is in ofel v'tzal mavet. There is death and darkness in the world. And then, as soon as the yetzer hara is removed from the world, at some point, there will be an end to all this darkness and all this sadness and all this suffering and all this death. And that will be when Hashem decides that it is time to end this darkness at the end of 2 years in this case, but at the end of who knows how long, there will come an end, and Hashem will take away the Yetzer Hara, take away the forces of evil, take away the Satan, take away the death and the darkness and the sadness. And he says, and we have to understand that this is the root of the darkness. Anytime there's suffering and anytime there is sadness, it's all because we are in a darkness of Hashem's light, meaning there is no clarity and there's no understanding. Why the heck did he have to wait another 2 years? Why do we have to wait every single day and the hostages are not coming back? Why? We don't understand. We are in complete darkness and confusion, and we don't understand that Hashem is running the world. If we really felt that Hashem is loving us and Hashem has a time and he is going to come to the end of that time, And that's it. It's done. And he will remove the forces of evil from the earth. And he will cause an end to all the death and all the suffering. And he will bring the hostages home. He will. If we felt that, it wouldn't be dark anymore. It wouldn't. If we really truly woke up every morning and we said, you know what? I am living in a world that is completely being orchestrated and led by a loving deity, by a loving Father who's taking care of everything. And he's completely powerful. And he's completely knowing. And he completely has this under his belt. It's no problem for him. It's no problem for him to come to the end of this time and to do everything to make every pain and suffering and evil go away. And that end is going to come. And that is amazing how Miketz, this parsha, always comes out on Hanukkah. Because this is the time when we light that candle and we remember, okay, that it's all about this light of understanding and clarity. And apparently the light that we see in the candles and the Hanukkah candles are so powerful and so spiritual because we actually see a bit of Hashem in those lights, because it's the Or HaGanuz. It apparently, when the world was created, Hashem first initially created this incredible, incredible light that would just like clarify everything. It was clarity. It was intense spiritual light where you saw God. And then Hashem decided, you know what, this is not going to work, because if evil people can see Hashem, then we won't have free will in this world, and it's going to be, it's not going to work. So Hashem removed that light, that clarity, and is only bringing it out to very righteous people who can see it and who can handle the light. And also on Hanukkah. On Hanukkah, during the candles lighting, when we can actually meditate on those candles, and I hope that you do, and I hope we say Mizmor LeDavid. There's a Mizmor Shir Chanukot Habayit LeDavid is the Tehillim that we say. I think it's 23. Mizmor Shir Chanukot Habayit LeDavid, and it's all about how Hashem brings light and brings happiness after we are crying. We are full of crying and darkness, and we don't see the end to this, and then it lights up, and then Hashem brings an end to all the suffering. La'erev yalin bechi, we go to sleep crying, v'laboker rina, and we wake up with joy. And so okay, so this is the light. So when we light those candles, we're showing that it's all about emunah and understanding that Hashem is running the world. Okay, now here, okay, and then if we actually could say that, like, wow, Hashem loves us. You have to say this every day, by the way. You have to say this. I mean, it's not perfect, and it doesn't actually, like, internalize so easily. But if you say this every day, there's a chance that we can get through the day and that we don't fall apart. Hashem loves me. You say to yourself in the mirror, I know, Hashem, that you love me, and I know that everything that happens is for my highest good and for this nation's highest good. We are going through a good time right now. Just say it, even if you don't believe it. And that from this situation, only good will come. And keep saying it throughout the day. Sometimes you walk around the day, throughout the day, and say it over and over and over again. Hashem, I know you love me. Hashem, I know this is for my highest good. Everything that happens is for my highest good. I know from this situation, only good will come. Try it. It's helpful. Especially during the Hanukkah candles and when you say this to Tehillim. Okay, so then you realize that it's at the Hashem brings the end, okay? And that's why we light candles dafka at this parsha. There's always, Hanukkah always comes out during, Miketz, this parsha always comes out during the time of Hanukkah, the darkest time of the year, when things seem crazy. Now here's one more point. Netivot Shalom says in the second essay, Ashrei HaGever Asher Sam Hashem Mivtacho. What is that? That means like, lucky is the man who trusts Hashem. Okay, so that's basically what I was just talking about. But this is talking about Yosef, and it says that Al Yadesha Amar Lesar Hamashkim Zechartani Vehizkartani, because Yosef, it doesn't mean exactly what it says, what it sounds like. It says when Yosef reminded the butler, or told the butler, please remind Paro that I am stuck here in this jail. Okay, when he said that, Nitosef lo shtei shanim. At that point, he added 2 years to his stay in jail. Now, this goes completely against the last measures that we just said, that at the end of 2 years, no matter what, this was the time that was supposed to be. From the beginning of history, there was a calendar, and it's 2 years, and this is the time that Hashem had set aside for the end to come, for the end of the darkness, for the beginning of the light, where Yosef was brought out of jail and started to become a king, a viceroy, however you say that word, viceroy, in Egypt, and started to basically be in charge of everything. And then the brothers come down, and he starts, basically orchestrating this whole reunion with the family, and the whole family gets reunited. It's unbelievable what goes on. The beginning of the end is in this parsha. Okay, so how could you say that he now added to himself 2 years, and why? So initially we can think to ourselves that maybe he was supposed to, that really Yosef, by mentioning that he's in jail, was kind of like saying, why does that add 2 years to your stay in jail? What did he do wrong? In fact, was he supposed to sit back and do nothing and just trust that Hashem is going to take care of him? We're supposed to put in effort in life. We're not just supposed to sit back and do nothing. It's like, that joke with there's a flood and Hashem, and there's a boat coming by and asks to save you. And then there's a helicopter, and there's, all these people are trying to save you. And you say, no, it's okay. Hashem is going to save me. And then you get to heaven, and Hashem is like, I sent you a boat. I sent you a helicopter. I sent you a plane. What's your problem? Why didn't you just, take the opportunity? So that is a true thing, and that is what Nesivos Shalom says is the following, is that really we have to work on our trust. We have to work on our trust of Hashem, and everybody's at a different level, and we have to know ourselves. And if we're at the level where we are not really trusting Hashem, I mean, we can talk a nice talk, but in the end of the day, if we are still worried all the time, and if we're still not sure that Hashem is going to save us, and if we're still, on a lower level, let's just put it, let's call a spade, then you do need to do a lot more effort. You need to put in more effort, because Hashem tzilcha, Hashem is your shadow, and Hashem reflects back to you the kind of behavior that you expect of him. Okay, so that's really wild. But apparently Yosef was on the level that he really could have trusted Hashem, that he was totally in the hands of Hashem. He felt it. He knew it, that Hashem was taking care of him. So there's 2 situations here. Nesivos Shalom says there's like a possibility. Here's how it goes. There's 2 ways of being redeemed in this world. There's be'ita ve'achishena. There's 2, it's a whole long thing, so I can't go into it, but there's 2 ways to be redeemed. One is called be'ita, in its time. And the other is called achishena, I will speed it up. Okay? And it comes from a Navi that says be'ita achishena. In its time, I will speed it up. So when is this geula going to come? When is the redemption going to come? And so he says that there's basically 2 situations. Yes, Kates Sam Lachoshech. Hashem has a calendar, a big heavenly calendar. And in it, there is an end to all the suffering. And Hashem will bring the end to the suffering in its exact right, perfect, precise time. And that is 2 years. For Yosef. For Yosef, it was 2 years. Miketz shnatayim yamim, the end came, and it doesn't matter what you do, it's going to happen. Hashem is going to bring you to that redemption. So it doesn't matter what you do. You could do everything wrong, and Hashem is still going to save us in the end. Hashem is still going to bring the end to fruition, and the good days are going to come, and there's going to be an end to the darkness and an end to the forces of evil. But Says Netivot Shalom, if you trust Hashem more than your comfort zone, more than your capabilities even, you really work on trusting Hashem that everything's going to be okay, then Hashem will do an extra speeding up of this heavenly calendar, of this process, like it happened in Egypt. They were supposed to be 400 years in exile, and in the end Hashem sped it up and brought them out 210 years after the exile began. So we have the opportunity with our choices, and the choice is specifically in this area of trust, to speed things up. And Yosef could have done that. He could have saved himself 2 years. He could have sped up the process. Yes, it's exactly at this time that he was supposed to get out. But if he had shown that extra trust and said, you know what? I don't need to say anything. I don't need to give myself some marketing. I don't need to put myself out there on Instagram to get more clients, to do more effort, to remind the king. You think Hashem can't take me out of this dungeon? He doesn't need anybody to remind him, right? So he could have saved himself maybe 2 years, but he didn't. He went ahead and he's a kid, nobody's blaming him. But it's like the Medrash is telling us that just like on Hanukkah, when these Maccabees, can you imagine? These Maccabees were about 300 Torah scholars, they were Kollel guys. Hey, look at that. All the Torah scholars got up and went to the army in the times of Hanukkah. Those 300 Torah scholars went against the Roman army, put on a uniform, took their spears, took their elephants. How'd they have elephants? And no, they didn't have elephants. The Roman army had elephants, right? And they had spears. They had nothing. And they went out to fight. How do you do that? You can only do that if you have insane bitachon, insane trust in Hashem. So that is what brought about the Hanukkah miracle. And my bracha to everybody is that this is what we have to work on this Hanukkah. Just stand there when we're lighting candles and trust. Calm yourself down. Tell yourself that everything is okay and everything is going to be okay, and there is a cosmic plan and there is a cosmic calendar. But with our trusting and with our calming down and with our not worrying and with us just increasing light, increasing good, increasing love between people, increasing good actions, increasing chesed, increasing smiles, increasing positivity, we can speed up the cosmic calendar, and we can bring those hostages home quicker, and we can allow our soldiers to come home healthy and happy quicker, and we can end this war quicker, okay? And we can bring peace and light and good to the world on a much speedier level. And that's my bracha to everybody, and have a good Shabbos and a good Hanukkah.